This is the last part of the 2 pages I want to do today from the book by Shimura when he did discussion with Daisetz. As I said, I've read this many, many times and still find it very interesting. So up to now, especially the last part is very important. The discussion was about the self-power and other power. Self-power that you use here and other power is like your heart, the way of nature is prevailing. That power we may realize if we pay attention to that keeps us alive. So while we are busy in here, connecting to the heart is important. And he was talking toward the end of the last part. In Shin Buddhism, Myokonin example is rely on other power to be saved. Amida's compassion. And it's profound. There are many of them. But Daisetz's point that important thing is just like go back to the Garden of Eden before you ate your fruit of knowledge and feel happy being with the way of nature. You are a human being, so come back and help others. So that's the spirit. He says it may be missing in Shin Buddhism, but I'm not quite sure because there are lots of documents and even videos, except that it's accepted at the people level, not at the authority level, let's say, those intellectuals and who make speeches and stuff, but it's alive. And they do selfless work. And that's what he was talking that without looking for or asking for reward, extend that sense, not just for yourself, but for others. So the end of it, his point was that for those people, the conventional notion of happiness may not be their happiness. Even going through the suffering that is commonly accepted or viewed as suffering in our society, that suffering itself may not be felt as suffering, as if to live with that big purpose, big connection with Amida power in that example of Shin Buddhism. So it's like I was just thinking of Gandhi. No violence. Just live with your belief. Strong. That can change, move the mountain. So anyway, I'll continue. So Shimura says, unless you find pain or suffering become fun or happy, easy, is it the way that you won't be happy in your turn? And Daisetz says, rather than saying it, happiness exists beyond the suffering. Suffering and the pleasure may be like cloth or the lines that goes back and forth. But real happiness is beyond cause and effect. And to go out of the cause and effect is not to be away from cause and effect, but within it, stay in it, in that society, let's call it. That's my word, but within that cause and effect, using your brain, still you find happiness. You become that happiness. That's what the Zen may emphasize. So, even if you go to hell and sitting on the carpet with all the thorns and all that, may become happiness. But Shimura says, here the problem could be that such pleasure is seen as the true happiness, but then that you push it too much, that kind of attitude. And Daisetz says, if that process of pursuing such happiness, then it could be sadistic. So that's not good. So we have to go beyond ourselves attaching in our mind. We have to let that to go. And Shimura points that one episode from the Buddha's teaching. So there's a disciple of Buddha named Sona, and the Buddha said Buddha found him too enthusiastic. So he said, Sona, before you come to us, I heard that you are good at playing musical instrument. Is that so? Sona says yes. Then you know that for you to have the right sound, you cannot pull the string too hard or too weak. Training is the same. If it's not to a certain level, then you get lazy. But if you push too much, then you create unnecessary suffering to you. So you cannot choose either of those extreme cases. And Shimura says that's the middle way in Buddhism. The middle way is not in the sense of the level of effort. It is to avoid, I don't know if I can use the word Epicurean, just seeking for the pleasure or seeking for the pain. Such extreme philosophy or belief, then it is to be avoided. So it cannot be extreme. So it is to point the positive attitude of living life, and therefore Shimura says the sense of Daisetz about his happiness is connecting to that middle way, and that was discussed already in earlier part of the video, or previous videos, and that he himself practiced this middle way, spent long years of his life positively all the way through.